So I'm here in the car, driving towards Estepona, very close from Marbella in the Costa del Sol, southern Spain. And I'm gonna soon meet an American lady who recently retired in Estepona. And looking forward to meeting her and listening to her story.
I was living in West Hollywood, which is a city in Los Angeles County. I've always wanted to come here. I've been coming to Estepona since 2001 was my first visit, and I pretty much fell in love with Spain. Basically, my expenses are way less than the 2,000 I'm transferring in a month. The biggest expense is rent. Hi.
Hi, hello. How are you doing?
Good to see you. Come on in. Sorry.
Oh, we
Let's
gotta.
get him to lay down. Go.
Wow. What's her name?
His name is Sue.
Or his name? Oh, yes.
My
Okay.
name's Sue.
Well, fantastic. Thanks for letting me come here into your Spanish home.
Thank you.
Can you show it around?
Sure.
to
So
me? Yes.
let's do the back first. So come
All right.
along. Here's my kitchen.
Yes.
And in the kitchen, there's a little patio outside where I bought a washing machine. It didn't come with a washing machine.
Okay.
Now, my very first washing machine I've ever bought.
Oh, yeah.
So this looks out onto the pool
Oh, not
side
bad.
of the
This is
building.
what in Spain called urbanización, no?
Yes.
Yes, it's like a
There's
club.
3 buildings,
3 buildings.
2 pools,
That's fantastic.
and a gym.
And a gym.
Yeah.
Wow. Not
And a
bad.
garage. All right, then
You have a car.
I do not. I do not have my Spanish driver's license yet.
Oh.
So I have 2 bedrooms. I'm hoping my friends will visit. I've had one already.
Yeah.
So I call this the handmaid's room because it's a little simple.
Yeah.
And then this is my room, which is a little messy. Probably should have cleaned that up. And then another bathroom here.
Yeah. Oh, you have like your own bathroom.
close that.
Okay, and suite.
Yes.
That's
I do.
fantastic. And
And lots of closet space, which is
like,
great.
are you renting this place or did you buy it?
I am renting it. I'm not sure. I want to wait to get a renewal before I buy anything.
Yeah.
So
And how much are you paying per month?
I paid $1,500 a month, and I paid for a year
A full year in advance?
in advance.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really hard to get a place before, because I'm on an LLV, so I don't have income coming in.
Right.
Because I'm just using savings. I'm not old enough for my pension yet, so they don't really like that. And there's a lot of, other issues with just temporary rentals. So I was really
Right.
happy to get this for a year and get my padrone.
That's fantastic. Can you show me the views?
Yes, this is the absolute best part. And I've really done my balcony up. So I have a view of the bull ring,
Well, it can't get more Spanish than this.
Mediterranean, and on a clear day, usually I can see the continent of Africa.
Wow. And how far away are you from the center of Estepona?
So it takes me about 10 minutes to walk to like the center.
Okay.
15.
So walking distance.
Yeah, everything's walking distance for me. I'm
All right.
walking distance to the markets. The port's just down on the other side.
Yeah.
And then the old town is that way. And then I can walk all the way up to.
So you don't even
near
need
the
public
87.
transportation.
Not unless I want to get to Malaga.
Okay, of course.
Or
of
like
course.
another town, a beach town. And that's okay. I can take the bus direct to Malaga. It only stops in Marbella usually. So it's a pretty fast ride.
Where were you living in the US before moving to Spain? And what was life there?
I was living in West Hollywood, which is a city in Los Angeles County. And it's a great city because you can actually walk around there, which is rare in Los Angeles. And since I don't like to drive, it was a great place. And I lived there on and off for a very long time. But West Hollywood was not where I grew up, but where I liked the most.
That's fantastic. And Sue, since when do you have Sue with you?
I got sued during the pandemic in 2020. And just around after the pandemic was ending around September. My dog before had passed, and so he's now 5. He had his 5th birthday here in Spain. Had a little tapa.
So I thought Sue, it's a female name, but it's a he, right?
Yeah, he's named after a Johnny Cash song, Boy Named Sue. So he's my boy named Sue.
So what was the turning point that made you say, I'm ready to move abroad and I'm choosing Spain?
So I've always wanted to come here. I've been coming to Estepona since 2001 was my first visit, and I pretty much fell in love with Spain, everything about it. It was just a tiny fishing village really then, and I still love it. So my best friend moved here. He was English. I still live in London. And then, well, no, he's Scottish, actually. Oh, he'll kill me if he's Scottish. But he was raised in England. And so him and his girlfriend moved here. We were all friends, and they actually had their son here. So I've been coming to visit regularly since 2001. Around 2015 was when I'm like, this is it. This is where I want to retire.
And how long did you prepare for the move?
I'm going to say for a while. I was researching the options since about 2022. My parents passed away in 2022, and I thought, you know what? I don't have family here. I mean, I have some cousins they keep in touch with, but now that my parents were gone, I thought it's time. So I started researching it, and I was planning on moving 2026 when I turned 55, but I was in a position where I could apply with my savings. And so I decided I wasn't really happy in the States anymore, and life was too short. And I wanted to be close to my best friend who actually lives here still. And I have such a better social life since moving here.
So you came here partially because one of your best friends lives here, but how do you actually meet people around?
So I've been coming for 20 years, so I've got a pretty big personality sometimes. So I've met a lot of people. I'm hoping to meet more Spaniards so I can practice my Spanish. I have my friends here, and then I become friends with the friends they've made. I don't have a huge circle of friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. I know a lot of people in the local shops and tapas restaurants, but I have a really good, tight-knit group of friends, and they have social lives that I kind of get to be a part of. So I'm slowly becoming friends of my friends' friends.
What were your biggest fears or doubts before making the move, and how did you overcome them?
I did have a lot of cold feet right at the beginning, and I thought, oh no, maybe I am going to just stay here. Maybe I should just go, 90 days out of the 180, but it's too complicated with him. I think my biggest fear now is, making sure I can get a renewal because I'm super happy here. So I don't really have a lot of things I miss in the States. A big fear was trying to get my dog here. I was really worried about that. He's a mush face breed, so he can't fly under the plane, and he's too heavy for in the plane. So that was my biggest stress. And then my other biggest fear was if I was going to be able to get housing, because in Spain right now, especially Estepona, it's really complicated to get long-term housing. Lots of short-term rentals, but not long-term. So that was a big concern. And when I got here, I was had a bit of anxiety about that.
What monthly budget did you plan for when you moved? And how does the real cost of living compare here to the US?
So I'm under budget usually most months. My rent's already paid, and I pretty much transfer about $2,000 American dollars, transfers in euros, into my Spanish account monthly as needed. But it's needed. So I have more in there because, groceries are so much less. Entertainment even. I go out a lot. I eat out a lot, but I've also found that my consumerism has diminished a bit. So it's better. Like I'm not shopping on Amazon or ordering Uber Eats all the time. And then going out in America is expensive. I don't have gas. I don't have car insurance. And my health insurance was $750 a month in the United States. And here it's about $150. So that was a nice change.
When did you move to Spain?
August 22nd, I landed in Madrid.
So August 22nd, 2025.
Yes. And I got my TIE in mid-November.
So August is month 8, and now we are in December. So it's about 4 months. Let's go back to budget. Can you break down your typical monthly expenses in Estepona, like rent, groceries, dining out, transport, activities, etc.?
Okay, so my rent was $1,500. That's paid. So right now, I'd say I spend about $75 a week on groceries, and I'm buying good groceries. I have to get my matcha and some things that I still have to have. I have matcha latte. So I go to certain stores for that. So my groceries are cheap. You can go, there's all the vegetable markets, and then the fish, is fantastic and inexpensive here. We're right by the beach. So my groceries are way less. I was paying about $600 a month in the States. So that's really decreased. My entertainment, I'd say probably another 75 to 100 because I really like to go out to eat and have fun with my friends. But things are very inexpensive in general. I don't go to big restaurants. And I cook a lot at home now because my friends live so close. they come over for dinner. Back home, it wasn't so fun to cook for myself. But one of my best friends lives 60 meters away. Her watch doesn't even pick up when she comes here. So I don't have a car. So basically, my expenses are way less than the $2,000 I'm transferring in a month. The biggest expense is rent. That's my biggest, and then the monthly health insurance. But I paid a year up front for the NLV, but starting next year. So those are the biggest expenses, but groceries and entertainment are very manageable. So my other expenses would be if I want to do some traveling outside of Spain, but I have to go back to the States, and that was not inexpensive ticket. So probably about less than about $1,500 a month. If it was with my rent, it would be like $3,000 a month, realistically.
How did you find the apartment in Estepona? Was it easy or challenging?
It was, I'd say, between the two. So I feel like I got very lucky. I was online looking at, there's some websites like Estepona Chat and information. There's little Facebook groups, and someone posted this apartment, and I was one of the first to reply. And she replied, and I'm not kidding you, I think I got in here within 4 days of moving. But that's not, like, everybody that I knew here told me it was going to be hard. So I got super lucky. And that's why I was willing to pay a year up front, because it's my savings anyway. That's where it's coming from. So I was looking at Idealista a lot. And I did look at one, and I had somebody try to charge me like $3,000 extra to like his fee for giving me the apartment, which I, didn't think was really illegal for him. But I was almost willing to do it because that's what a lot of people are doing, because it's just so, Estepona is growing fast. A lot of people moving here, lots of Americans now. There's a couple American schools here now.
So Estepona is becoming a hot spot among Americans, together with other cities like maybe Nerja or Marbella. If someone wanted to rent in Estepona today, what realistic budget should they expect?
It depends on the size. I wanted to have 2 bedrooms so my friends could visit. And so if I could have, I'd say like $1,500 to $1,500. Really, I wouldn't say expect less than $1,000. Unless you want to move maybe a little outside of the center to some of the other little places or up in the Campo, that would be a lot cheaper.
How did you start meeting new people and forming a social circle in Estepona?
So because of my friends, they have introduced me, and they're so sweet. I met up with a girl that I met online that was there. I've also started a Spanish class online, and they're very big. They have meetups in Malaga. So I was taking in-person Spanish classes. I met some people there so that I've known. My best friend I've known 30 years. So I have them to kind of pick at their circle of friends too. So I'm lucky. I think in general, Spain is social, so it's easy. I mean, I go out by myself and have drinks and talk to people all the time. It's really not hard to chat with people, especially since there's so many Americans and British here. In Spain, they really prioritize their social life over work. And in the States, it was, 3 weeks in advance to make a plan to see a friend. Some of my friends, I'd even have to make a plan a date to just talk on the phone with them. So here, my friends come over all the time. We go out all the time. We watch movies together. I feel so much less lonely here than I did in the States. I have less friends, but I have a way better social life.
What does a typical week look like for you in terms of activities, hobbies, and community events?
So I have my Spanish classes. I had a class Monday, Wednesday in person, and then Tuesday, Thursdays online. I have a bicycle that I put a basket on the back, and when it was warm, I was doing 3-hour rides, not riding the whole time, but stopping at Chiringuitos and getting a drink and letting him run on the beach. So that's my day. I practice my Spanish on my own as well every day. I run errands. I gotta say, I don't do a lot, and that's exactly what I wanted to do in retirement, because I was really burnt out in the States. But I think, I'm thinking by next year, I'm going to need to get a hobby, volunteer. I'm thinking of this guy offered golf lessons. So I was thinking my dad was really good, and there's lots of golf courses here. And they need help at the animal shelter, walking dogs. So I'm thinking probably when it warms up, it's going to be time to have a hobby.
What were the biggest culture shocks, positive or negative, after arriving in Spain?
I love Spain. This isn't anything against Spain, but customer service is a little tricky. Sometimes it's not as friendly. Americans are very, hi, can I help you? But, it's tip basis. Also, just the bureaucracy, nothing's really streamlined. And one of my hardest things is because I don't have the language, like I can't really advocate for my health or my rights. So that worries me. So that's a little bit hard. And opening a bank account was a bit challenging. It's all settled now. I just feel like once you have your TIE, it helps. But then when you rent a place, I needed internet. So my friend's bank account is getting debited for my internet and my cell phone. So I'll say this first year is, I feel like every day there's something new I need to do to keep my residency and make my life smooth here. So, but I don't really feel like I have a lot of culture shock because I've just been coming here for over 20 years to visit. So I feel like I wasn't an American that just said, oh, I'm going to move to Spain because I want to leave America. I wanted to move to Spain for years. So I knew the culture, I knew what I was coming for, and I love that I have to slow down here because I felt like in Los Angeles, everything was so urgent all the time. And here, no, I felt like in Los Angeles, everything was so urgent all the time. And here, no pasa nada, mañana.
So you moved here on a non-lucrative visa. How was the process for you?
It was a lot. Now that I look back, I feel like maybe it wasn't as hard as I made it out to be, but it's just stressful when you really want something so bad. There was, the bank statement situation was always, bank stamps and this, and I was lucky enough to get a nice letter. I was really worried because I live in Los Angeles and the consulate there wanted you to have an apartment. So my friend went to a notary and said that I'd be living with him indefinitely if I needed to, as long as I needed to. But they never asked for that. The health insurance, trying to find it, it wasn't as easy, You're trying to find one that matches everything. And I found a good health insurance, found a good insurance broker. So, but that, takes some time and you have to time it right. Because did I have to do it at my appointment? Was it supposed to be active? Or was it supposed to be active in when I moved here on my move date? And I wrote the consulate, but no, I wrote BLS and I never got a response. So I ended up buying a 15-month policy. So it was in place when I applied and then it's still in place when I come in. And it was lonely because I did it on my own. A lot of people have their families and their husbands and it was just me and waiting for 10 weeks and 2 days. I pretty much lost my will to live a few times there because it was very stressful. My application, and I hope this helps people, it never changed from application and process. It never changed to processing admissions. So it really made me panic that it was lost. So I did call and cry. And they sent me a message, processing admission, don't call us, on my little text. And then 2 days later, I had it. But they hold your passport. So that to me was the most stressful part because I kind of felt like I was being held hostage in my country. I booked a very expensive flight for my dog and I was really worried to not get the visa in time for that. So I did apply for a second US passport and it is doable. And I highly recommend that. If you're processing your visa, I took in my receipt from BLS and I went to the passport office and they approved it. And it's a 4-year passport. I really needed to get my dog here. But of course, then my visa came right around the same time. So,
did you use professional help to apply for the visa?
I used professional help recommended by you. And then for my insurance, I used a broker they recommended. I think you can do it on your own. That's my opinion. But it does feel good to be able to have someone just to talk to about it because I was doing it on my own. And they helped me also with my TIE though. They did get me my TIE appointment and I had it like within 2 months after I got here. So that was good.
How important was the Spanish Non-Lucrative Visa Facebook group in this process?
Oh, it was great. Sometimes it was stressful because I would see people from the Los Angeles consulate get approved, who applied after me get approved before me. So that started to really make me panic. But also talking to other people and seeing that like, oh, my husband got his, but I haven't got mine. So it just kind of eases your nerves to know there's just like no date or way or to figure it out. And I got it in 10 weeks, which was when I made my appointment was only 3 weeks it was taken in LA. Then they told me 4 to 5 weeks when I went there and it took 10. So the Facebook group was like therapy. It really was. It was like group therapy. So it really helped me. Especially, for Americans, because there's a lot of British moving here, so it's a little different for Americans. So I'm not really a big Facebook person, but I actually went back on Facebook specifically for help with this.
So what advice would you give Americans about preparing their documents and avoiding common mistakes?
It's really not that hard. It's just the bank. It depends on your bank and what they're asking. Because I know I applied before the May 20th changes. So it was May 13th. So I know now bank statements, they're saying all sorts of things about them. I recommend a credit union. They are really willing to work with you. They'll let you keep a Spanish address when you move. So I wish I transferred my money there. Also, maybe even putting your money in a Spanish online account beforehand, because their balance letters have everything you need. Like they have the stamp, they have everything. So I wish I'd done that so I'd have a year for my renewal. That's the only reason. So I highly recommend that. And making sure, figuring out what your consulate wants in relation to health insurance. Do they want it on the day you apply at BLS, or do they want it when your entry date is? My biggest challenge was getting my dog here. So you can do it yourself. Just go through the list. That's what I did. I spread everything out and I went through the list and made sure I had everything. I was married and I changed my last name. So then I had to get my name change decree and get that apostilled. But the banking is the hardest, especially with savings. So make sure you have that money. And I had them write a letter that said this much of your investments, because a lot of us have money markets and IRAs, this much is available as liquid cash. So I had a letter that specifically said that. And my lawyer said, this is a great letter. We've never had this. And they said she has this much in the bank and this much is liquid. So it's a process, but I'm telling you, it's so worth it. Like it was so worth, like anything hard they say, it's worth it. It was like my view, my life here. I'm so much happier. I was getting pretty depressed in the States. I'm just so much happier here. I just feel like this weight has been lifted. So
do you feel safer in Spain than in the US? And in what ways?
Of course, yes. I mean, I lived in Los Angeles. I have a friend that was shot at on the highway. I don't think that's going to happen here. I walk home at night all the time, like midnight there's always people out. I walk along the beach. I never, ever, ever feel fear here. I guess maybe I've put my guard down a bit since being here, but I feel so much safer. The people are friendly. I can always ask for help.
What do you miss the most about the US and what would you not miss at all?
I miss US toilet paper. I miss my Charmin. I had one with lotion. I miss, just having the language, being able to communicate all the time, knowing my rights, knowing my doctor, knowing, I can explain things. That's the only thing I miss. But other than that, I don't really miss anything. I know you should say you miss your friends, but I talk to them on the phone and I know they'll visit me, and I don't miss driving at all. Los Angeles, it's required. I don't miss that. I don't miss a country that has a lot of guns. It was a concern. It really was.
Do you see yourself staying in Estepona long term or even permanently?
I see myself staying in Spain permanently. I would love to be here 10 years and potentially, if my Spanish is good enough, maybe do citizenship. But I would definitely in 5 years will go for the permanent residency. So I'm watching my time out of Spain to make sure I'm not out more than 2 months. I would love to stay in Estepona permanently. I really would, but affordable wise for property, I'm not sure, because eventually I would like to buy something. So maybe a little outside of Estepona, where I could still ride my bike over here to see my friend.
If you could go back and talk to your pre-Spain self, what would you say?
Take a breath, relax. You have everything. BLS takes a while, the consulate, it takes a while. Be patient. If you meet the criteria, it'll happen. There's no reason for it not to.
What is one thing you wish you knew before moving that would have made your transition easier?
I wish I had opened a Spanish online account. I just think if I'd had that already established, I could have come in and got my mobile phone. I could have got my Wi-Fi. It would have been much easier. And then you just switch it to a resident account, the one I have once I got my TIE.
What steps should Americans take in the 3 to 6 months before moving to Spain?
Consider what you want to bring with you. So you're saying 6 months. I think for about a year, I started emptying my apartment slowly. I have a I like Elvis stuff and Star Wars stuff. So I had a lot of things to get rid of. I had to not put sentimental value on material things and just clean it all out. And the funny thing is I have a bunch of boxes back home and I'm wondering what's even in them. Like, do I need them? Funny thing is I feel like I have everything. This minimalist life is better. So that's one big thing. And make sure your FBI check. But the thing is, I wish I know it only took a day to get it. And then I paid one of the services recommended on your website from people. And it took 2 weeks. So you can do that. But I'd say packing up and deciding what you want to bring is really important to do. And then thinking about your US phone number and your US bank accounts. What are you going to do? Are you going to, you need your phone for the 2-factor verification. So things like that. So for my phone, I want to switch it to the prepay account, but I can't do it until I'm back in the United States. Oh, I wish I'd done that before. So I'll have to take care of that in January.
What personality types or lifestyles do you think Estepona is perfect for, and who might not love it?
It's slow. It's not Marbella, not yet. They're really growing it, but it's a lot slower paced. I like it here because I'm in my 50s now, and in Los Angeles, I felt kind of sequestered by age. I felt like I wasn't a young person's town, and here it's just everybody mingles, all ages, kids. I love seeing kids out like in the summers at night, eating dinner at 10, and it's all the abuelas and abuelos going up the hills and walking. And I think you need to want to walk. This is a walkable town. So, but if you like a faster pace and you're like young in your 20s and you like clubs and you want to go out, maybe Estepona is not for you.
What's the biggest myth or misconception Americans have about retiring or living in Spain?
I say this to my friends. I wish Americans realized, because they work so hard. We work so hard, and so many people work until their late 60s, early 70s. Because they want to stay in America. You can have a great life outside of America, and you can build a community. I feel more like an immigrant than an expat, so I don't do a lot of expat things, but I do feel like if you want a community, you can find it. There's American Club here, even though it's mostly British people. It's not as scary as it seems to leave your country. It's really not. You don't have to work till 72 if you don't want to live in the States. Like, you can really move out of the state. I'm 54, so I left early, and it's doable because life's too short to be working, especially if you're in a job you don't like anymore. So you got to socialize, make time for your friends.
I really, really appreciate the time that you made for this interview. Thank you so much.
And thank you for your Facebook page, because without it, I probably would have had a nervous breakdown. Sit down.
So how was it with Sue? How did you bring him?
He's too heavy for the cabin, and he's a smush-faced dog, so he can't fly cargo because of the breathing. So I found, so there's Bark Air and K9 Jets. They're booked up fast, and it's really kind of hard because you don't know when you're going to get your visa. So I actually lost money on a flight that I was going to take. So I found a Facebook group that helped with people who charter flights, and you buy a seat on that. And I got super lucky. There was a seat left on one going to Madrid in August. So I put down a deposit, and it was super expensive. So I'll admit that the pet relocation is tricky. And if you're nervous like me and you can't, I know a lot of people with big dogs, we had a Great Dane on the flight. They just don't want to put their dogs in cargos. But it was a great flight. It was me, it was 8 passengers, 12 dogs, and 3 cats on the plane.
Is it true that it's somewhat harder to find a place to rent when you have a pet here in Spain?
So when I went on Idealista, yeah, when you put in pet, a lot less come up. But I feel like there's so many dogs here, and other Americans I've met have dogs here. So I wouldn't say let that deter you. I would say you can find a place with a pet. Like, I didn't have a problem. This is the very first place I looked at. And I also looked at another one, and they both allow pets. So I feel like it's not as concerning as you might think. And it's such a pet-friendly place. I had him they let me bring him into the restaurant, inside a restaurant the other day. So this place is super dog-friendly. Sometimes they bring him his water before my water.
Oh, and one more thing. Apparently YouTube says you're gonna love watching this video right here. I think you should watch it.